Good evening, class. This is my presentation discussion for a 5.3 discussion why are bio and SAF fuels not ready for takeoff. My name is Matthew Medve, and we'll begin. All right, this week's topic and readings related to bio and sustainable aviation fuel, also referred to as SAF, was particularly interesting to me. After completing this week's assigned readings, there is one significant element that stood out to me in regard to what was holding back more extensive use of biofuels and SAFs. It seemed to me ultimately it came down to the price difference, actually, over a few different aspects in regard to that between biofuels and SAFs compared to conventional jet fuel. Essentially, the price difference is holding back the more extensive use of biofuels and SAFs in the aviation industry. A case study performed by Hong, Chu, Day, and G highlighted that the current price of biofuel is 2 to 7 times higher than conventional jet fuel, so that makes a big difference. To expand on this further, another study performed by Jilin and Oxayan found that because SAFs and biofuels are not produced on the same scale, they didn't enjoy a favorable economies of scale during production, resulting in a price 60% higher than conventional jet fuel, which translates to a ticket that is 20% higher, which air travel customers have displayed limited willingness to pay higher prices for the same travel compared to competitors. This is a significant element for airlines to consider in the extremely competitive airline and air travel industry, where operating costs in relation to competitiveness is more often than not airlines' ultimate deciding factor. Profit margins, really, right? And then to expand on this, an article by Houghton summarizes that since fuel cost is airlines' second largest expense after labor, and they're extremely thin operating margins, there is very little incentive to buy more expensive fuel. All right. Another element that's impacting increased utilization of SAFs and biofuels is the level of investment difference. The same study referenced earlier by Jilin reported that investment in Europe for further development and enhancement of biofuels and SAF fuel sources declined from 20 billion euros in 2006 to 3 billion euros in 2018. In order to reach favorable economies of scale and other efficiencies, increased development investment is required into the future to make SAFs and biofuel a more favorable alternative to conventional jet fuel, especially price-wise. It has, numerous benefits on the environment emissions. Additionally, an article by the International Air Transport Association, also known as IATA, right, summarized that many airline investors view biofuel and SAF airline production investments as high risk in a short-term market and are unattracted to investments into larger SAF and biofuel production factories. That would make biofuel and SAF fuels more competitive with conventional jet fuel. All right. Another aspect of price impact difference between biofuels and SAF in comparison to conventional jet fuel is cultivation and production. Conventional jet fuel is drilled, processed, and transported to its final destination for consumption. In comparison to bio and SAF fuels, production is generally more involved. META details that first-generation biofuels use crops like sugarcane and grains as feedstock for fuel production, which resulted in increased food prices, and it influenced changes in land utilization, which understandably led to backlash, right? So essentially, the price difference between biofuels and SAFs compared to conventional jet fuel has several price challenges to overcome. Increased infrastructure investment is required to close the gap, which will likely not occur without incentives from the government in the form of subsidies, tax breaks, or things of that sort. But the many benefits of the utilization and of biofuels and SAFs in regard to reduced emissions and other benefits to the environment needs to happen. So it's going to be interesting to witness how this topic evolves over the next few decades, right? All right. Here are the references I referred to over the course of my presentation, And thank you for listening to my presentation about the challenges facing biofuels and SAF fuels, and I look forward to hearing from you as well. All right, thanks. Bye.